What is up, everybody? This is Kelly Lord. I am the founder of Krysis Project, and this is the first Krysis Project podcast. So, without further ado, we're going to kind of get into it. And it will be raw, it will be rough around the edges, and we're just gonna roll with it because guess what? I've never done a podcast, but we're uh, we're gonna Bill O'Reilly the shit out of this and do it live. So or Nike just do it. So what is the Krysis Project? It is my way of staying alive. It is my way of getting out of my own head and giving back in any way I can. It doesn't require anything to help a homeless person on the side of a road. It doesn't require a license. It doesn't require a badge. It doesn't require money, really. I mean, yeah, you can help, but ultimately, at the end of the day, it starts with caring about people. And I've been told that I care too much. Kind of like Michael Scott, right? It's like, what are your flaws? I care too much. I work too hard, and I don't know when to stop. And maybe that's why we're here, and it's how we got here. But it's what it is. The the name Krysis Project, it actually came from a movement that my mom, Kimberly Lord, tried to kind of start back when she was alive. And her movement was called the Happy Project. And she wanted to project happiness in any way that she could. And her method was singing. She was a singer. And I grew up playing the piano for her and singing as well as my sister. And I promised that I would be her accompanist and I would learn how to play the piano. So I started playing the piano when I was 7, and I got a piano music scholarship to William Jewell College in Liberty, Missouri. And that was back in 2007. But as the saying goes, life happens while you're making plans. My mother passed away from stage 4 breast cancer during my freshman year, and I had to drop out. At the time, we were living beyond our means as our family. We were living in a golf community in a house that was out of our league. But my parents were trying desperately to impress and revitalize a dying business of theirs. So my father was a Marine during Vietnam. In 1969, he spent 400 days in the jungle as an 18-year-old kid, and he volunteered to do it. but he lost a lot, and it turned him into somebody that was a vicious monster. It really was. Growing up, it was very physically, emotionally, mentally abusive. I remember at one point him picking me up and throwing me across the room, hitting the wall. I think I was 5, because I had a friend over, and this friend and I each took a bite out of an apple. Then we put it down, and then we came back. And long story short, we were arguing about who took which bite and which apple was whose. And my dad was upset because he worked from home and he wanted peace and quiet, and he came barging out and grabbed me and pretty much dragged me inside and threw me. So um, I remember one point he knocked out my sister's baby teeth. He threw my aunt's dog down a cast iron circular stairwell and killed it. So, not exactly Father of the Year material, but ironically, through all the stuff that I've been going through lately, he is relating to me more, and he's talking to me more than anybody else is. And unfortunately, I've been kind of a prickly bear since everything's happened. And it's kind of like being on fire. And nobody really wants to go in and help you. Well, because they don't want to get burned, right? Anyone who's not dressed to put out fires, anyone who's not a firefighter doesn't want to get burned. And even if they care about you, they might not have the abilities or the capacity to help. So it's kind of where I'm at. And unfortunately, treatment and help and stuff in these kind of situations are, I mean, it's like giving a burn victim ointment to put on their, maybe their burn, right? It's like, here, put this balm or ointment on and you'll feel better. Take 2, drink some water, take a knee, right? Problem is that's just treating a symptom. The symptom is you're burned. The problem is you're on fire and you're still in the fire. To really recover, one has to be removed from the fire and brought to safety. In the Army, we learn tactical combat casualty care, TCCC or TC3. And that's our combat lifesaver steps of care under fire. First step is fight back. You have to engage the enemy. The enemy's got to be suppressed. Whatever is causing you this, their issue, whatever is attacking your mind or your life, the source of it needs to stop. Because if you don't stop it, then you're just going to keep on getting casualties, and you're still going to get wounded. And trying to save anybody to do any kind of treatment or care is futile. Now, the next step is tactical field care. So at this point, you have suppressed the enemy and you have gotten to some form of cover and concealment. Now you can worry about stopping the loss of blood, stopping whatever is going on that's immediately just draining you. And that metaphor, it's hard to be the person who's obviously who's wounded, but for people who are trying to help somebody who's in that situation, it's not easy because you immediately want to just go in and just help them out, get them out of there, snap out of it, you're fine. But it's not that easy. And I've kind of been relating it to cave diving, like hiking and climbing down into deep, dark caverns. And when someone's in a state of crisis, or maybe they're thinking about making a final decision about their life, they're in the darkest place that they could ever be, the darkest, deepest cave in their mind. My recommendation is don't try and save them, don't try and help them. And by that, I mean, don't just try and whitewash over it. I know your heart's in the right place, but it doesn't help. My recommendation is tie a rope around your own waist and secure it to something metaphorically secure. And you climb down into the dark with whomever you are trying to reach. And you just sit there and you just be there. And you don't try and fix it. You just let them know that you care. Because anyone who has had a good life and really had nothing go wrong or bad is very privileged, very lucky to not ever have to think about or have the feelings of wanting to end your life. And it's a fact that if you knock down enough pillars in someone's life, their foundation will crumble because it's like a foundation that's built on your pillars, okay? And then on top of the foundation, you have your life, your house. But if you start taking away family pillar, career pillar, friends, it doesn't take much for it to all come crumbling down. And that's what happened to me. Is I thought I had it all figured out. I thought I was the superstar, Joe Army, Captain America is what people used to call me when I had hair. He's going to be the Sergeant Major of the Army someday. Right. I was the drill sergeant of the year for Fort Benning in 2020. I'm an Audie Murphy Club member, and I was the Audie Murphy Club treasurer for the Fort Benning chapter for a year and a half. And at the end of the day, it all means nothing because on March 29th, I came home and my wife and 9 and 12-year-old daughters were gone. And the day before, I had picked them up from the Atlanta airport, drove them all the way home, and we were 11 minutes out, and we were all tired. And my wife and I got in an argument. And in the rearview mirror, I saw my daughter kind of bump or whack her sister, her older sister, with her tablet. And as I was kind of reaching back to do the dad thing, you kind of reach back, you're like, no, wait, we don't hit. My wife, because of our argument, thought that I was reaching back to hit our kids. But as I was saying, we don't hit, as I turned around back to look front, she had punched my eye and knocked my glasses off. Now, right before that happened, I jammed on the brakes because my wife was yelling at me, my kids were yelling at me, and I didn't handle it well. Because I felt like I was disrespected, and that everything that I do in the Army or in life is just to take care of my family. I never wanted to be in the Army. I never had any idealistic thoughts of patriotism or even college degree. I needed a job in 2008, and there was a recession going on, and then it took eventually until 2010 in March for me to finally go to basic training, one station unit training in Fort Benning, Georgia, in infantry. And I've been in for 12 years. I'm a sergeant first class. And again, it means nothing because Uncle Sam has institutionalized me to buy the kind of the party line, hook, line, and sinker. And you couldn't find a better poster child. Well, you could, but you could literally just look at the posters that I was on and say, wow, he's kind of a poster child for the Army. And I bought it, and I drank the Kool-Aid. I've never been diagnosed with it, but I've taken those tests online where it's like, you might be Asperger / what they call it these days is autism spectrum disorder. And every time I take one of those tests, it's like over 90%. Like, you might want to get checked out. You might be on the spectrum. And for me, excuse me, for me, that looks like kind of how like Sheldon Cooper is from Big Bang Theory. If he knows something's against the law or against the rules, he can't help but follow those rules. It's just like he can't not do it. And I've kind of been the same way. If there's an army regulation, or if there's a law, you know, don't break it in front of me because I don't want to have to go down that road. And I always, as the drill sergeant of the year, I used to tell everybody, is like, if you want to survive your time as a drill sergeant and maintain your hat and badge, you have to adhere to the black and white so that you can keep the green, and also not mess other people up and mess your own life up. But I'm the most self-deprecating people you ever meet, and if I could, I would take responsibility for all, both sides of every argument, and just inherently be like, I'm kind of worthless. I did mess up. I'm sorry. But one of the things I have going for me is that I never stop trying to be better. But it does get hard. And I tell you, I'm tired. Have you ever been just so tired that you just want to go to bed and you never want to wake up? I have. I feel that way all the time. Because everything that I've held dear and everything that I love has been taken from me, and I feel numb inside. And there's got to be an open conversation about it. It can't just be like, no, 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 don't say that, don't say that. Oh, and then, or, oh, we need to get you to behavioral health right now. Are you having thoughts of harming yourself or others? Yeah, all the time. First of all, I'm in the infantry, okay? That's kind of like what we're trained to do, right? We train literally every day to have thoughts of harming other people. I mean, Uncle Sam, the Army does a great job of turning citizens into messed up killers. But they don't tell you how to turn it off, and they don't tell you what to do to decompress and how to deprogram. And I've only been in 12 years, which is more than some and less than others, but I have been to Iraq and I have been to Afghanistan, and I thought I made it through okay. And I thought I made it through unscathed, really. But apparently I didn't. And apparently just the Army in general, and then stack that on to life. Everyone has their own story. Everyone has their own hardships and things that they have gone through. And we can gain strength from that. But the worst thing you can do if you're dealing with somebody who is suicidal or going through some kind of crisis is talk about you. They don't want to hear about you, and you're irrelevant to them. I mean, of all the training that I've had in victim advocate training, it says, don't talk about you. It's about them. Something in their life has been taken from them, and they're thinking about taking the only thing back that they can and have control over, which is when they go. And that's a huge responsibility. So what am I doing here? What is the purpose of all this? I don't care about my life anymore. Aside from my daughters and trying to think about their futures and the fact that someday I will see them again, it doesn't change the fact that right now it looks pretty bleak. There's some sun creeping up on my horizon. Don't get me wrong. But the army in general starts to wear you down. All I want to do is help people and get out of my own head because I can't stand being alone right now. And it's the 6 inches between my ears, my brain. That's one of the most dangerous things about me. So this podcast, this project is a way for me to bring awareness and to shed light on a very dark topic. But I hope that through my vulnerability and willingness to share, that other people can come forward and admit that they're going through something too. And we can help support each other in our time of pain and struggle. I don't have answers. I got a lot of questions, and we're on a journey. Life's a journey, folks, okay? Because the problem is it's a game. Life is a game, and we're all in the same arena, but there's no winning the game. Okay? There's no winning the game. We all die. All you can hope to do is play the game for as long as you can. And hopefully leave something for the next generation of players. And keep the game alive. As always, I have to say these days, I have no thoughts of harming myself or others. Thank you for your support. And I'm here. And if you want to talk, let's talk. And until next time, I am your host for the Krysis Project podcast, Kelly Lord. And with that, I'm signing out.